Good morning, stamping friends. It's Stamp Ventures with Shauna, Canadian Stampin' Up! Demonstrator. Welcome to Saturday morning coffee break. I'm really disorganized today, so I am a few minutes later, hopping on and getting started here with the stamping presentation for today. And I'm just going to see if I can get hooked up here to my iPad in case anybody happens to be on Facebook and happen to be leaving a comment. Oh, look at that. Yeah, I think I see Darlene and Susan. Hello, gals. Hope you're having a great Saturday morning. We've got a cloudy but calm day here in Saskatchewan. I can't believe, we almost every day I look out and the trees are just moving back and forth like crazy, and it knock on wood. Or I don't know if that's the right thing to say or not, but this is like mark one on the wall. This is a calm day out there, so loving that. I have a confession to make this morning. About, 7 weeks ago for Saturday morning coffee break stamping, I showed bubble stamping. I don't know if any of you caught the bubble stamping. It was really lots of fun. And I don't know how well these little pieces of bubble stamped paper are showing up. And then I set them on my table, and then they ended up getting put in a pile, and then they ended up getting shuffled to one side, and stuff got put over top of them, and then they ended up into another basket. And I never did make a card with them. And I was feeling kind of like, oh, well, I said that I'd be showing people something that I've made with them, and I've got to get making something. I've got to do this. And, the whole shame and I just, kind of ignored this project. And then I was reading something last night in this book. Many of you have maybe heard of Brené Brown, and if you haven't, you might want to look her up. She has some interesting research to share. And this book of hers is called The Gifts of Imperfection. It says, let go of who you think you're supposed to be and embrace who you are. And she talks a lot about shame and things like that, and how we can deal with it. One of her premises about leading a very fulfilling and wholehearted life, she says, is playing. And there's different things that she suggests that help to create a very fulfilling and wholehearted life. And there's things like courage, compassion, and connection, and there are things, belonging and being enough, things that seem like, that makes sense. If you want to have a very fulfilled kind of life, cultivating your authenticity. But towards the end of the book, there is a section on creativity is part of it. But beyond creativity, there's a section called Cultivating Play and Rest. And so when I was reading this last night, she talks about, our self-worth is tied to our net worth and our level of productivity, and spending time doing purposeless activities is rare. And in fact, she says, for many of us, that sounds like, an anxiety attack waiting to happen. We always feel like we have to be on, and we have to be working on the next thing that's on our list, and just enjoying something for the moment and playing with it is like a waste of time. And here she's saying that no, play is really important. And she said the opposite of play is not work. The opposite of play is depression. Well, and she's saying that somebody else has written about play too. She's quoting another author there. And so I'm like, okay, Shauna, you can let it go. You can let it go. You had fun with the bubble stamping, and I still might do something with these pieces, but there is value in just pulling out your stuff and playing with it and having absolutely no preconceived notion of what's going to come with it, just enjoying it for what it is. So I just thought I'd share that. That's just an aha moment that I had, that just love and enjoy what you've got and play with it. And you don't necessarily have to say, okay, this is going to be a birthday card, or this is going to go in the mail to so and so, and it might eventually go in the mail, but just to play around with it and see what you come up with has value in itself. Okay, so what I'm going to do today is play around, and I'm going to bring out this very well used piece of grid sheet paper, because I was doing something, you might call it scatter stamping. Scatter stamping, yeah, just playing around with ink and paper. Kind of looks like you're making like wallpaper or wrapping paper. So I actually had a whole sheet of white cardstock. I'm using the thicker white cardstock because I just wanted to, if I decide to stamp something on the other side, the color doesn't come through as much with the thicker white. And I just used this Tasteful Touches, and I stamped all over the paper, and here I've cut it in half, and I'm going to lay it to the side. Now I'm going to try scatter stamping with the Love of Leaves. So that's kind of appropriate for this time of year. And I didn't look for any chart or anything to tell me which colors to pick for the leaves. I just went to my colors, and I'm like, oh yeah, I think these three would look pretty nice together. The Bumblebee and the Terracotta are two in colors right now. And then I thought, oh, the Pear Pizzazz, because I like how it's a light green. It's not really a heavy green. And I'm going to scatter stamp all over this, and I haven't inked up these leaves yet. I've used the dies because I love the stitched dies, but I haven't inked up these particular leaves. So I'm going to do that, and I'm going to create like a wrapping paper, or just a patterned paper. It's just fun, like kind of make your own DSP sort of thing. And then I may end up doing something with it, or I may end up just setting it to the side and thinking about what I might want to do with it at some point. So let's get started. We'll play. And I don't know if there's any right or wrong with which leaf to put with which color, so I'm going to put the small leaf with the yellow and the large leaf with the terracotta, and the green leaf with the narrow leaf, the long narrow leaf with the Pear Pizzazz. And because we're playing, there isn't really any right or wrong, but usually when I do scatter stamping, I start with my biggest stamp, because to begin with, I have the most room on the page to start with. So I'm going to just scatter stamp this all over. And again, there's no right or wrong. I'm going to turn my stamp in all directions, and because I want it to make it look like a pattern, I'm just going to go off the edges. So here we go with terracotta. And yeah, if I feel like I've got too many going in one direction, I turn it around and I move it in another direction. And if you find it awkward to move your stamp, especially if it's a bigger one, the other thing that you can do is you can move the paper. That's another option. So this terracotta color is kind of making me feel happy. It's a great color for this time of year. Let's see, where could I fit there? Something like that, and might fit something there. And I just kind of let my eye wander, and if I see a spot where it looks kind of empty, I fill it in. That's as technical as it gets for scatter stamping. Now I'm going to go to the middle-sized stamp, the Pizzazz, and see what this long leaf looks like. And wherever I see an empty spot, oh, okay. There we go. Move it around. Oh, I think I can even fit one right here. Fill in with those empty spots. There we go. I wouldn't, I guess I wouldn't have necessarily thought of Pear Pizzazz as being a fall green, but I just do like the lightness of it. Okay, and then my last one is the smaller leaf, because now I'm getting smaller spaces in there, and I'll fill in with this, and this is Bumblebee. Oh. Okay. Oh, this Bumblebee's got a good yellow intensity to it. Actually, I've been noticing our leaves are starting to turn now. A friend and we walked yesterday down in Waccamaw, and as I turned the corner and came down the hill into Waccamaw off of Home Street, oh, the yellow in the leaves was so pretty. They're still on the trees right now too, which is a treat. That won't last long, unfortunately, but yeah, I should have really pulled out my camera when I was down there. All right. So hello to those who have joined on more recently. If you didn't hear me at the beginning of my video, I was telling my Stampin' Friends here about a book that I've been reading, and it's called The Gifts of Imperfection by Brené Brown, and she talks about the importance of play in our lives. And so that's basically what I've done here. Is I've just played with ink and paper, and I've created like a patterned paper. I've created my own designer paper, and I can set that to the side and think about what I might want to do with it. I can just do this because it was just fun to play with the ink and the colors. Now, getting back to, I showed you some other paper that I did this same scattered stamping to. These colors here are, let's see, how did that page go together? Like that. They're Rococo Rose and Gray Granite. And the stamp set that I used here is Tasteful Touches. So I've cut the paper in half and scored and folded, and just decided, okay, I think I want to make this into a Just For You card, just using basic like white layers. And if you want to know the size of the layers, this smaller layer is 2.5 by 1 3/4, and then this one is a 1/2 inch bigger all the way, a 1/2 inch bigger in both directions, so 3 by 2 1/4. And this easily could have been matted in one of the colors, like the gray or the Rococo Rose, but I'm just going to stick with basic white because there's something crisp and clean about white, and just want to do a quick card here. And if you're wondering where these words Just For You came from, they're from this Meant to Be stamp set. And I love the hearts on here, but to be honest, this is the stamp that I use the very most from this set, because Just For You can be for almost any occasion. So to yeah, put this together. I'm just going to grab some dimensionals and probably if I had used the gray granite for my second layer here, it would have maybe made the words pop a little bit more. But there's, yeah, sometimes you just want to go with a more of a subtle, crisp look. And I'm not even working square on my paper here. I really should turn that, maybe get a closer idea if I'm even layering those somewhat straight. So there's one idea of something that you might do when you just play around and create some of your own designer paper. But you might come up with something else, and I'm here to say it's okay if you just stamp and you don't do anything with it right away, or if you blow bubbles and you don't create anything with it right away and you just had the fun of the creating. Because actually, yeah, when Brené Brown talks about playing in her book, she puts it in the same category as sleep, as it's something that's just very, very nourishing and good for you, and you don't have to have any outcome other than the goodness of doing that itself. So I hope you have a wonderful Saturday, and maybe you have some time in your day to do a little bit of playing and enjoying our fall weather. And thanks to all of you who hopped on today. I'm just seeing, looking last minute at the comments here, and oh, I'm glad that you like the colors, Judy. Thank you, Elaine. And yes, there are some lovely new in colors. And yeah, you can grab almost any stamp set, maybe not one if it's all words, but you can grab almost any stamp set that has images and do scatter stamping with that, and just enjoy and play. And thanks so much again for tuning in this morning. It's great to see all of your names coming across my screen. Bye for now.